We were always promised a world with the booking systems that came out there. They'd always promise they'd help connect with new people and save you money. But when we started, the problem with people was we had to ask them to download an app straight off the bat, which people are hesitant about downloading new apps at the best of times. Ours is open source in the sense that everyone's on the same platform. So we use our geolocations to show people in your local area services that are in your local area first. And it's
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Wai Involve, where we bring you thought leaders and game changers from various industries. Today we have with us Alex Dunlop, the founder of Wunderbook, a revolutionary free booking platform designed to make scheduling and payments seamless for businesses and service providers. With a background in running 2 gyms in Dublin, Alex understood firsthand the struggles of managing bookings, handling payments, and reducing administrative overheads. His solution? Wunderbook, a platform that puts business owners first by eliminating unnecessary fees and ensuring seamless scheduling. And it's really fascinating how Wunderbook was born out of your own experiences. Running gyms and dealing with everyday challenges of managing bookings, you saw a real problem and built a solution that puts business owners first. Alex, it's wonderful to have you on this podcast. Alex, we are asking you to kind of quickly walk us through the Wunderbook journey. We know that it was primarily your business idea out of your own experience of running a business, and then you thought that a kind of online booking application would help. But beyond that thought, why did you think that it will be a good idea to productize it and take it to the world as a platform? So if you could, briefly walk us through your journey, that will be great, and it will be a good starting point for the podcast.
Yeah, well, I was in the fitness industry. I still am. I'm managing classes. I don't coach any class anymore. But we were always promised a world with the booking systems that came out there. They'd always promise they'd help connect with new people and save you money. But none of them ever really did that. So I came up with the idea to create a booking system that was completely free for the companies. The companies being me at the time, who was doing all the hard work to get these people in, and we needed software to manage the systems and people booking in, because that's time wasted for you, like answering everyone's phone calls. So our unique idea was that our goal would be to, first of all, save these people, these young entrepreneurs who are going out, have a passion about yoga, saunas, gyms, whatever it is, whatever your service is, and then give them a platform to show them to the rest of the world effectively. So we came up, it was funny because you come up with this idea that you're going to have a free booking software for everyone to use, and you think that, like, without doing any work, where it's free, but people don't ever believe in it, they don't trust in it. And I think we started with you guys about 4 years ago, and we're now at the stage where we built that trust with people, and people do trust the product and Wunderbook, and we've got over 75,000 users using it. I think we get 200 downloads a day of people signing up to the app. So we're doing well. We're starting to make impressions on the thing. We did a lot of people at the start would sign up and they didn't have to trust, and they wouldn't necessarily use the product because there's no contracts, there's no commitments with us. You can sign up, and if we're not adding value to your business, you don't have to stay around. All the booking software that I signed up first thing with the gym when I started 11 years ago, maybe signed a 6-month contract and cost me €200 or 200. I think it was $200 a month. Like, starting off, that's a big ask for a startup business. So we negate all of those problems for the startup companies and give them an opportunity to get on, legitimize and professionalize their business by having Wunderbook as a partner. Plus, ours is open source in the sense that everyone's on the same platform. So we use our geolocations to show people in your local area services that are in your local area first. And it's sort of, so consumer also has a better experience because they get to try a lot of different services, and those are the people who pay us. So we want to do a really good job for them to make sure that it's really simple and easy to book and pay for these events. So that's where we're at. It is what it is. It's a simple bookings and payment system, but we do 2 unique things, which is not charge the companies and help new people by having open source. So Wai, to be fair, has been great we actually didn't initially have we were going to charge the fee to the company at the start, but it would be integrated into the payments, so they wouldn't have any overheads. But then we flipped it around to be the customer, which I think everyone was happier with. And but you guys accommodated us at the start as well with that swap, which was great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's been an exciting journey for Wai to partner with somebody like you. We're always very excited to work on your platform and make sure that we were able to kind of develop, deploy, and maintain it for you. I think it's really, really good to see that something that you created out of your own business need now has, kind of achieved and is going to achieve probably more business presence across your region. And probably you're also thinking about extending it beyond what you operate in right now.
Yeah,
However,
Yeah. Well, 100%. This was one of the things that we did with Wai, and we came up with that because we started we're Irish based, obviously, but Irish in the UK, let's say, and they're all different currencies. So when we started, we were only Euro, but then we've now launched Wai, and we've launched. One of the problems that we faced one time was even we had a problem organizing the time of this podcast, as we work on daylight saving hours and you guys don't. So our times change at the end of March, and then and just into autumn. So the time zone is just swapped 4 days ago for us, and it became a bit confusing as to what time the podcast is on. But those problems are small things. So we worked off an absolute time, but we've now launched Sterling, which is a UK company. We have dollars, which is in America and Canada, and Australian dollars, and then facing those issues with the time zone, there's stuff that we've working out together, even just Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere, and stuff like that. So those are problems that they were good problems to have, that they came up, that other countries wanted to use the product, and then leading into different languages and stuff like that. But it's still going to be just a button to click on the button and pay, and then we're working on different ways of paying.
Absolutely. But that's really wonderful to know, and we are kind of ever so grateful to you to create this opportunity for us to be able to work with you on this, and it's been a fantastic journey. Now, obviously, recently you kind of decided to completely modernize the platform, keeping obviously business objectives in place. But I would like to learn a bit more, and what I'm trying to learn for us and for Wai and for our community is what drives or what are the objectives for somebody like you to primarily think about modernizing existing applications. So what were your primary objectives about that?
Well, our primary objectives, I will always go back to the baseline of what we do, and it's bookings and payments and making it really simple for the user to book into it. Regardless of things are complicated, we genuinely try to keep things as simple as possible. But with this modern world, with AI coming into play and stuff like that, we had a meeting with Oncram. We both agreed that it was time to increase. We were working off Ionic, and then we migrated everything to Flutter. But it was the migration of, I think we might have had 50,000 users on the old platform that we had to migrate over, which came with its own problems. But looking back on that, we had about 4 to 6 weeks of difficult times. But the one thing that we did do really well was we didn't really have any downtime, which was surprising. We had like the odd bit of downtime, but we were migrating a lot of data, and then there were lots of different linking parts and different things. So it was quite complex when you're looking back on it. Even now when we do updates and stuff like that, everything is a little bit smoother because we have the new platform in place. It works a little bit faster and smoother. And that's what it's all about, because the users this day and age have absolutely zero patience. And if they have a long list of things that they have to do every time to sign in and click onto buttons, they get impatient at it and they could be potentially lost. So it was essential for us. Now our system wasn't broken, it was working. So it was a bit of a risk, but it was, looking back on it now, it definitely was worth it, because we found the system is now faster, smoother, and it also gives us opportunity to grow into different stuff. Like if we ever want to add in some AI learning, because we have a lot of statistics on people who have been booking into things, that what are their patterns, and if we can give those insights to the companies that we have on the app. So like one of the recent implementations, I can't say that. implications that we've been putting in recently has been like at-risk users, like people who you haven't seen for 2 to 8 weeks, or people who recently dropped the membership. And it's up to the companies what they do with that data. We're just presenting them with data and information about these people who you haven't seen for 2 weeks. You might want to contact them or drop them a little message to be like, we haven't seen you for a couple of weeks. Do you want to come back? Or here's a free credit. Up to you. We give plenty of ideas out there for the companies, but it's giving them the data. I always say it's like, data's just data unless it's actionable. So unless you can actually action the data, like having an endless amount of data is effectively useless. So unless there's a reason behind why you have that data and what it's actually showing you, it can become redundant unless there's a reason for that. And that's where AI and stuff, that's where we'll look at integrating those things in and being like, well, this person's in this area or he's moved over to here. Maybe he wants to try certain things. And we also want to like gamify things a little bit because we want to be able to give people opportunities to set their own goals on the app. Like, I want to go to 5 fitness classes and then I want to hit 1 recovery session in a sauna session or do a yoga or Pilates session, and give them their own targets and give them stuff that they can target and reach. And we can then mirror that with suggestions to go, you're not in your local area, why not try this place? Here's a class that's roughly around the same price that would also fill those fields for you as well. So those are the exciting things that we have looking at down the line. Again, it still comes down to the bread and butter of make sure the bookings and payments are easy.
Absolutely. No, that makes a lot of sense. And even we do a lot of modernization projects for multiple customers, and what you call scalability, better security, better integrability, and I think those are the objectives, obviously. But I think better user experience and being able to use and leverage AI capabilities are some of the primary objectives of our customers when they look at modernizing their web or mobile applications. But I think what you're saying is exactly on that same stream. And when you kind of post the modernization, what's your experience, or you're reading about the experience of your end users? I mean, do you have any? Do you see any change in their experience? Are you getting any feedback from your market about improved user experience?
Yeah, well, the users, we have 2 different types. We have our companies who are the companies who set up the classes and events, and then our users who actually book into these classes and events. And every user that we've talked about, it's been, the old app was simple, but it wasn't as smooth or as fast. And it is. I'm like, if something takes 3 seconds to load or something takes 1 second to load, you notice it. And then if there's any sort of lag or if there's any sort of experience on that, but even stuff like being able to pay with like Apple Pay. So you can basically, our goal is to be able to click on the link, click on the price, double tap Apple Pay, and that customer's booked in. There was studies that we were looking at the other day, like the standard checkout experience is something from 90 seconds to 2 minutes for most things. And I think we've almost got it down to below 30 seconds at times. Definitely for future bookings, if you've already signed up to the app, but that's our experience. Everyone who's talked to us about the new, plus you guys massively help with the UI, how everything looked and felt. It's hard to change something that you've already built, if you get what I mean, to visualize. Once you bring it in and you start using it for a while, you realize that the buttons are just much more ergonomical. They're in the right positions. Because when we're building and layering stuff on, you sometimes realize that you've layered something in that it makes something else redundant. So it's also just about tidying up all that sort of stuff and simplifying it down. So users, our thought process was kind of, it was brought around lockdown time, and we were like, step out of that lockdown mentality and go experience the world. We say Wunderbook is the healthy way to scroll, because you're going to end up with an experience that's outside of your phone and in the modern world that you're going to be out experiencing, whether it be a sauna, as I say, or a gym class or a running club or whatever it is. You're going to be actually outside of your house and not on your phone constantly scrolling. There's an end goal to be a healthy way of scrolling. So you're going to end up with results from it.
Yeah, interesting things. And I think that's what it educates us on is that very unique ways of how businesses look at their own user experience. Every business has a very different perspective, but this one is very unique. It was very interesting to know that you wanted the usability, kind of driven by ergonomics. That's something that's quite unique. So pretty interesting. So yeah.
Sorry,
And
also,
so
people,
yeah,
people,
sorry.
but sorry, people always say they trust the black box, so they'll trust the phone. So, like, if something doesn't work on the phone, we'll know about it, and that's part of YN's job, is to make sure that everything is working smoothly and that everything, because people won't question it until it's broken on the phone. Couldn't you show it? I mean, so we have to put it in place. We'll know about it first, and then we have to go and fix it. But that's what we have YN there for, is helping with making sure that all those things are in place, everything's working smoothly, and that's why the redesign and the relaunch of the new app was excellent.
There was,
and it will be for the long run, hopefully.
Interesting. Yeah. So the other question that I had, and you actually in your first response, you were talking about as a part of some of your objectives, was that you did not want any disruption in your ongoing business, right? Specifically for the end users, there was a lot of data migration, technology transition being involved. So besides the challenges related to migrating from the old application to the new modernized application, did you envisage any other challenges that you specifically wanted to be addressed and covered during the modernization phase?
Well, yeah, we wanted to implement Google and Apple Pay. That was our number one priority, because that's simple. Okay, so when we started, the problem with people was we had to ask them to download an app straight off the bat, which people are hesitant about downloading new apps at the best of times. And then we solved that problem with a schedule link that we have. So now people could do it by just clicking on a link on social media or on someone's website, and then that went to the booking side of things. But then we started realizing that we had to ask people to add a card, because obviously you have to pay to get into these services. And then they had to go through that process of adding a card. So then to simplify that down one more step, we needed to upgrade our software to be able to implement Apple and Google Pay. So those were the processes. That was number one. Obviously, we still always want to have the quickest booking experience possible. But that was the number one driver, as well as push notifications to notify people about they have an event coming up in an hour or 2 hours. Those were some of the main drivers of the upgrade. And from the conversations that we had in the planning before, it was, we needed to upgrade to have enough power to be able to do that. Plus, it also, actually, with the new upgrades, like we actually get, we as a company, and why will understand that we get notified if there's any potential failures that lead into it. Before, we wouldn't have had that. We'd have found out from the user, so we can almost pre-plan. We can catch the issues before they ever even reach the general public, effectively. With a lot of users, that's essential.
Makes a lot of sense. And we spoke about one of the other objectives being the scalability, and you wanting to extend your business into other markets. And when you're specifically talking about those markets, and after the modernization, do you see that the application is now more scalable, and whether you can now extend it into effectively, more efficiently into different regions and geographies? Do you experience that?
Yeah, well, we have since the launch. We've now got over 20 companies in the UK who've been using the app. So again, we're slowly starting to migrate into. I think we have 190 companies active. We've had over 400 who've signed up, again, because there's very low barrier for entry. But we're now getting the migration into the UK and which also comes with their own problems tax wise and stuff like that, because it's a different currency. But those, I think, are nice problems to have that we have to deal with. But yeah, we've been migrating into other platforms, and we do have other potential aspirations for different sort of styles of the app, but like even giving people their own individual version of what Wunderbook is. But yeah, other markets, that's where we want to go, is like UK, America, anywhere, all over Europe as well, and even potentially India down the line.
Yeah. Hey, sure. And we would love to partner with you on that too. So you can hold me to that, right? Sure. And so during the technical solutioning phase, when you were talking to us about the possibility of modernizing this application, specifically when you were talking to Omkar, our CTO, I think he kind of proposed our new UI acceleration platform, which is a React-based acceleration platform, Raaghu, and that is something that we have been working on for quite some time, and making a robust UI acceleration engine out of it. Having used Raaghu in your modernization journey, specifically for the web UI, what's your experience with having worked with Wai, specifically using Raaghu as the UI accelerator?
Yeah, well, I was even talking to my partner about this as well. It's just like what I was saying about the black box, it just works. And that's all we really want. But we've been able to integrate much more in-depth data on the dashboards, both giving the companies more information about how their users are interacting with their classes and events effectively. So the whole process has been just much smoother. We have a couple of new features, but again, not many. It's just everything works the way it's supposed to work, and that's pretty much most of the battle. Is just making sure that if I tap a button, that it's there and it is as it should be. But the data and the information that we get in from, because again, some companies could have thousands of bookings, and then filling back in that data on the dashboard with the Raaghu side as opposed to the old system that we were using. It's just much more smoother and cleaner. Everything is as it is. And also, a lot of our users our companies will use it on their phone, where it's not optimized somewhere for the phone, but it actually works much smoother on the phone now as well. Just the back end, the web application, as you say, is much more compatible with different devices as well. So it's just all the basic stuff that you want, but just much smoother and much more more professional, if you get what I mean. It sort of feels like it should feel. Like it should. There's no lag, there's no nothing. The buttons are where they are, they do what they do. And the companies have that same experience. And our stuff is like instantaneously. When I do a demo with people, it's quite powerful to be able to show someone me creating an event, showing them the link, and then just booking in within a matter of seconds. And they're like, they could have a 30-minute conversation with some other booking system, and they're like, well, you need to sign up to this concert, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I'm just showing them the end-to-end product, and I'm like, I can do it with under a minute, and that's just essential for us when we're demoing the products to people. It's just much smoother, much instantaneously, which is key for us.
I'm really glad to hear that, because that was the primary purpose of Raaghu, to make not just the user experience more meaningful and more efficient, but also to be able to make the development journey of any, the UI development to, kind of accelerate it. At the same time, have fantastic responsiveness and UI performance for applications. And we continue to build Raaghu to the next level, including the design to code capabilities, where we are looking at we have almost achieved a state where we can feed designs to the Raaghu engine, and it will turn out React code as well as the UI pages with pretty much close to 100% accuracy. And that's kind of helping our developers as well as our customer developers to really accelerate the UI development journey. So thank you for allowing us to solution the modernization project with Raaghu, because it gave us a lot of experience on what needs to be taken back into Raaghu and build over the design to code capability. So but thanks for that feedback. It means a lot, and I'm happy that you had a great experience working with us on that.
Yeah, well, even when you talk about that migration side of things, it's a relief to have such a team behind. Like we physically would not be able to afford if we had been in-house in our own. Probably we just simply wouldn't have been able to afford. We would have been able to have one, maybe two developers. Whereas when we're dealing with you guys, we have it feels like we have a team behind us who if one of our smaller team that helps us individually on a daily basis doesn't have a solution for it, they'll go to the greater team and they'll find out off Nikhil or whoever it is. They'll find out the answer, to get what I mean, and they'll come back to us with a solution, which is keeps us at peace, if you get what I mean. Because it feels like there's always someone there who, and they're quite honest, if they don't have the actual answer, we'll find out the problem, or we'll ask someone else, or it could be Omcar or whoever it is. They'll have a solution. and always coming up with new ideas, because we only have a small team here in Ireland, but having someone else who comes up with different ideas is also refreshing, because you get a different perspective on certain things as well. So it helps having that team behind you, as opposed to just always having everything in-house. So that's been massively helpful to us as well. Like, we would not have known about Raaghu if it wasn't for you guys later. So
Absolutely. No, I can understand that, and I think we were pretty much confident about Raaghu, and we are taking it to new heights. And we will keep pinging you on what new we are doing with Raaghu, and keep providing you more ideation about what else can be done with your platform using Raaghu and AI capabilities. So we briefly touched upon leveraging AI capabilities also as one of the primary objectives of modernizing, and you spoke about data. So what's your vision like for grabbing all this data and converting into actionables? And are you looking at any AI solutions or AI backed solutions to be implemented to help you with kind of energizing and making this data more actionable?
Yeah, well, that's what we want to have going forward. These are the conversations that we want to have. We have some of our own ideas on certain things as well, but like, the idea would be almost to give suggestions. It depends which way we're talking about. If we're talking about on the user side of things, that if they're setting themselves goals and targets and they're gamifying it a little bit, but we can also then suggest certain things that they might want to try from the community that we built on Wunderbook on the app, and then they can potentially go try these things. But on a data point from the back end for the companies, it's also showing those how their users are interacting with the platform. And then one of the key metrics that we were looking at as well was, which is disappointing for sauna businesses, a sauna business will have most of their bookings in the last 1 to 4 hours before the event. So they have to be on the ball all the time. Whereas the gym and a service industry, it's not the same. Do you get what I mean? It's a completely different model. They'll be booking the day before or the week before. They'll plan their whole week around their gym sessions. So it's understanding these capabilities, and there's just too much data for us to even comprehend ourselves. So getting that information to the user, or an at-risk user for a gym might be someone from 2 to 8 weeks, whereas an at-risk user for a sauna business might be 4 to 6 months. So it could be a different outlook onto how things. So it's understanding how all of these bookings are going through the system, and then what time are they booking at? When is a good time to do some marketing or post an ad, or what way should we discount on off-peak times? Or if we do a discount on off-peak times, how do the users interact with that? Is that a valuable asset to us, or are we just devaluing the product? You know what I mean? There's so many different moving parts on that. Yeah. Are people buying memberships? Are they using all their credits? You know what I mean? How are all these people with all this information? I know that we make it simple on the front end for the user, but there's a lot of complex stuff going on behind the back end where we don't have enough resources, or we're just humans. We can't even comprehend that sort of stuff. But AI can take all the information and hopefully be able to feed it back into the users and give it to the companies as well as the users, but give them, as I say, actionable stuff to go by. Like, maybe we should discount at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday morning to encourage people to come in, and that might work on getting more sales. So that's where I think on that sort of side of things. But
got it. And that's very interesting. And I'm kind of registering a few of the things that you're saying, and I'm going to be working with our tech team to we will have some interactions with you in near future where we could ideate a bunch of things together, and hopefully be able to present some solutions to you that you could think about, right? So specifically thinking about AI with data, that kind of thing, and we'll do that. And Alex, the last part obviously is to while you have stated your experience with us, but I would like you to tell me rather, that how was your experience overall? Not only for this modernization project, but since the time we have been associated with you, what do you think was your experience with Wai throughout this entire journey?
Yeah. Well, basically working with Wai, we've been together, I think, for 4 to 5 years now, and it's been great to see. We actually just had one of our lead managers leave. Well, she's off to create her own restaurant, which is great, but Shredder was unbelievable with us for the last few years, and seeing people come into the team and out of the team, if you know what I mean, from our perspective, because we're now migrating onto new software, so there's different people who have to come in and help manage it. But having that team, as I said earlier on, about behind us, and even like chatting to you and let's say Omcar and some of the stuff like that, for when we're doing, like, it's not always about creating new ideas. Sometimes it's about simplifying and keeping the product that we have really simple. But when we do come with these upgrade ideas, which was a team that you guys had, and also you did a lot of the UI stuff for us as well, which made everything just look a lot more professional. And having that team of people, so like if on a daily basis our smaller team runs into a problem, that they can ask someone else like Nikhil or someone like that, whoever it is who needs help, who's a specialist in that department, because there's a lot of moving parts on what we're doing. And like even with that migrating data, we obviously ran through some hurdles at times, but then having the team behind us, and you guys put a couple extra people in over a weekend when we were in a rush to get stuff done and live, that you doubled down and backed us and helped us get us over the line on times when we were trying to meet a deadline. And I think we worked on Saturday and Sunday, and there was a team of 4 or 5 people in over the weekend. So having that, we just simply could not have that if we were in-house here. So it's having that support network and having that, as I was saying, like we've seen you guys grow over time as well, and we've been there, and we're seeing it as well. And your team is growing as well, which in my opinion helps everyone, because if someone is working on another project, even if it's not with us, but they can come in for like an hour or so and help make sure that everything is working smoothly. So it's having that knowledge base and making sure that you have as much people working there as possible that can give as much depth to the team as possible. And it feels like that, like the depth to the team and having people who have different ideas just add so much value to the whole thing. And being able to talk to you guys as well, and giving you guys the opportunity to also implement in some of the stuff, because we trust you guys at this stage, and we're like, if you guys come up and tell us, you guys, we have to probably upgrade this, that, if we want to take it to the next level, and we were like, okay, well, we've trusted you with managing our stuff, so we're going to trust you on this. And we went through some tough times with the migration, which was expected, and we're now, touch wood, right at the other end of it, and now we feel it was the right decision. And now we feel everything is just going to be a lot easier going forward, and that's exactly what we wanted. So it's having that sort of support network around everything, if you get what I mean, everything and the daily sort of stuff as well, which is great for us.
Thank you very much, Alex, for being a part of this podcast. It's an honor to host you on this podcast, and I think you have made wonderful contributions to this series. This has been an incredible conversation. Your journey from tackling real business challenges to creating Wunderbook is truly inspiring. Your insights on modernization, scalability, and user experience have been really valuable. It's amazing to see how technology can transform operations for small businesses. Thank you for sharing your experiences and lessons with us, Alex. Don't forget to follow Wai Involve Network on LinkedIn for more thought-provoking conversations. Stay tuned for our next episode.